Alright, moving on to the fruit thing, and to think that if I just had the letter P, I would have gotten 100%. That's annoying. It's like, I know I wasn't going for 100%, so it doesn't bother me that much anyways, but just the fact that I got so close, yet missed it by that little, still feels like a huge slap to the face. It's pretty irritating, but I guess I can't complain. After all, we're about to go to one of my favorite levels in the whole game, which is also the general population's least favorite levels, or at least one of them. Ladies and gentlemen, this level is Spin Dizzy. I love everything about this level. The song, while I don't love the factory levels music that much overall compared to other worlds, this is one of my favorite songs in the whole game. It has really fun level design, and it's just an overall joy for me to play, except when I'm dying like that. I think the reason why a lot of people don't like this is the fact that there's a lot of sections that don't have a checkpoint for a while, so you gotta be doing pretty well and hope you don't die in order to advance. But it doesn't really bother me that much. And while it is one of the more difficult levels, it's one of those levels where I feel like, that thing hurts you. Oh, I almost got him. But anyways, this is one of those levels where it's difficult, but I feel like it's always fair. There's never really a moment where I die and I just go, that was flat out cheap. Every time I die, I can think, it's my fault. And, we can't go across. Something must be wrong. We gotta go down here. But anyways, every time I die, I never blame the game. I always say, oh, that was my fault. I shouldn't have done this, or I shouldn't have done that. It's never the game. It's always me. Alright, so this part we gotta be pretty careful. We don't want to get hurt while going across. Steady, steady, good. Alright, let's head up. And now I love these little Pac-Man shaped things right there that you gotta platform across. You know, if considering that this is on Ghost Island, they sure like Pac-Man a lot to have Pac-Man shaped platforms everywhere. It's kind of weird when you think about it, isn't it? Oh well, I guess I don't really care. Speaking of which, I believe this game was originally going to be called Pac-Man Ghost Zone, or something like that. From what I remember, this game originally looked really, really different, where instead of having this, you know, more steady type camera where it's always facing this way. Aw, shoot. Time to cut out some footage. Alright, I just saved you about a minute of your time by cutting all that out. But anyways, from what I recall, this game was originally going to be called Pac-Man Ghost Zone, and the gameplay worked totally different. Like I just said, the camera was different, and the game was originally, I believe, based around the concept of just collecting stuff. It was like an N64 collect-a-thon, but, well, for the PlayStation. And I gotta say, I'm glad that they changed it to this, because from what I've seen of the Ghost Zone prototype, it looked pretty cruddy, to put it nicely. It looked really unsmooth, unfinished, and while I know it's just a beta, and you could say, well, they could have perfected it, it really didn't look like they could have done much to make it look better. Overall, it wasn't that great of a concept. Minus Pac-Man being a platformer, because, well, this game shows that that can be a good idea. Alright, now see how that wall behind me is kind of sloped? Well, if I wanted to, I could actually butt bounce on top of that and get on the balloons up there, and I would be able to continue without ever having to hit that green switch. And if you were to do that, you can actually skip entire sections ahead of you due to the fact that it keeps the level pretty whacked out. Because the level design relies on you hitting that green switch, because when you hit the green switch, it freezes up the next platforming section ahead of you, so when you get to the next section, it requires you to hit the switch over there. You'll see what I'm talking about when I get to it. But if you ignore the green switch and just go to the top, skipping that section, see those hammers in the background? I don't know if you can tell that they're hammers when they're laying down. But if you ignore the green switch, they'll be in motion, and you'll be able to skip this entire section that I'm doing right here due to the fact that the way the level works, it would be totally different. So that's a little interesting extra thing that you can do. But since I'm not doing that, I have to do this section where I hit that switch, and then these hammers turn on. I don't know why, but I find something really funny about this section. Probably just how over the top it is, how you got these giant hammers that slam ridiculously hard at you. I mean, come on, people. I know this level is hard, but what's there not to like about this? You got giant hammers trying to kill you. That's awesome. I mean, look at how hard they hit. It makes the entire screen shake. Oh, and this section right here, you gotta be careful on, because that hammer that I just avoided goes back and forth both ways, so it actually lands in a different spot each time. It switches between two locations. So, see how it just slammed to the left, and now it's going to slam to the right. And that can catch some people off guard if they aren't expecting it. So, I know it caught me off guard the first time I played the game, and it still manages to do that sometimes. But you gotta be careful for that, because that can be pretty irritating. Alright, moving on. Now, what's frustrating about this section is the fact that you have all these platforms that aren't moving. And you're just kind of thinking, man, if I could just get on those platforms right now, I could breeze through this section without having to do anything. I would just go across, and everything would be perfectly fine. But guess what? The level is going to make you go all the way over here and turn those platforms on. So the fact that it could have been so easy, but the level design forces you to make it hard, is really, really irritating to think about. Oh, and by the way, I believe if you do what I was talking about, where you skip that one section, I believe it makes it where you don't need to go over here to turn these platforms on. You can just go across. But, yep, you just had to turn these platforms on, and you just made this area hell. So, congratulations. I always wondered if there was a way to just skip back here without turning them on, but I don't think there is, because the problem is, if these aren't spinning, then the very first platform stays in a place where you can't jump on it. So, you have to turn these on, but it's always just kind of a frustrating thing how you're like, this part could have been so easy, but I had to turn that stupid switch on. Alright, so, watch out for those. Those orange things can be pretty annoying in this level because it's always in a triangular shape. Oh, shoot. Time to cut more footage. Anyways, those things are always in triangular shapes, and they're always right above these spinning platforms, so that can always be pretty irritating when you're trying not to get hit by them, especially because when you want to get on the platform itself and you want to get above it, you can't really grab the ledge. Most platforms, you can grab the ledge and pull yourself onto it and you'll be fine, but since the wall hurts you, if you try to get on it by grabbing the ledge, you get hurt, so you need to jump up there without grabbing on it, which can be irritating. And what kind of ride is this? Is it supposed to be like a chairlift type ride that we were just on top of? Because I gotta say, I mean, I know that, oh, dang it. Anyways, I know that, gameplay before logic, but that's a pretty cruddy ride right there. You move back and forth at like 2 miles per hour. I mean, what kind of a ride is that? Well, I mean, I guess, while I'm at it, I might as well raise a question. What kind of a fun house is this? Is this really how ghosts get their entertainment? Why would they want to go to such a dangerous fun house? Well, I guess they're already dead, so they don't really have to worry about that, but still, it's that ride right there. What's up with that? Anyways, you're probably noticing the more frustrating aspect of this level, which, I love that spot right there, how there are these platforms that spin both ways. Ah! Camera angles! Now you people who haven't played this game can probably finally see why so many people find this level frustrating, because the space between checkpoints is pretty long, so when you die you gotta do Dang it! Well, at least I just got a checkpoint, but anyways, you can see why most people would find this level frustrating, because there's long sections without checkpoints, so when you die you gotta do a lot over again, and not only that, but camera angles! When you die, you gotta do a lot over again, but the reason why I'm not flipping out so bad is because, like I said, for the most part, when I die, I don't blame the game, I blame myself. The level's fairly designed and it's never really cheap, with the exception of those 2 deaths due to the camera angles, but, oh well, moving up. Now we got this section right here, which you gotta be careful on this section. It looks easy, but it's actually a bit harder than you'd think. And this is one of the few parts where having to play the game on a D-pad instead of an analog stick, stupid hole. Playing the game on a D-pad instead of an analog stick can make it a bit harder. And while you can turn on the analog stick, I honestly think it functions the same as the D-pad. The only difference is you can control your speed, whether you're walking or running. But I swear, when you use the analog stick, it still locks you to 8 directions rather than giving you complete 360-degree control over Pac-Man. Which is a bit silly when you think about it, but I'm not gonna get too angry, only slightly angry. But that's all the letters of Pac-Man. Why am I collecting all the letters again when you already did it? Because I like the bonus stage, that's why. This level has a fun bonus stage. Alright, moving up. Now, this section's a lot easier now since the platforms move in this direction for us. It cuts out a lot of work, and I killed the guy, so that's easier. And now, this dot chain right here has no purpose at all other than a couple of bonus fruit. But, hey, we don't need that, do we? Alright. Whoa, wait. Control lock from being crushed! If I didn't get all those lives from playing the bonus stages, I'd be freaking out right now. Alright, so anyways, moving on again. Now those holes in the wall right there, you cannot go through. Aw, shoot. It's a good thing I'm not doing live commentary because I'd be losing my cool right now. Ugh. But yeah, the difficult thing about these sections... No! No! Just so you know, I've saved about over 5 minutes of footage due to me cutting out or speeding up any parts where I have to redo a segment, so that gives you an idea how irritating this level can be sometimes to some people. Yay, daddy freed baby, now baby go bye-bye. Okay, thanks. But anyways, yeah, I love this level, and a lot of the backtracking and stuff really doesn't bother me, but I can at least see how, to some people, all the backtracking, not backtracking, but, you know, how frustrating it would be having to redo parts. But because the deaths are normally fair, and I find the parts kind of fun to begin with, it really doesn't bother me. And something tells me that there should be a background painting here, but it's pure black for some reason. Is that just me, or... Okay, I can't remember. Is there a background normally in this section, or is it always pure black? I don't remember. Am I only noticing that now, or does it always have a background, and am I just... Is it glitching this time? I have no idea. Anyways, I cut out the part of me gambling, so... On to the boss. And I'm going to show you some very frustrating deaths I had during this boss fight. But anyways, it's some dialogue. We clowns will beat you. There's no way you will win this race. You must finish first to win. Using turbo will not help. I took care of that myself. But what if he eats a power pellet and presses O? Gameplay hints. Now this first death, I committed suicide because I was so far in last place, I figured I could never win. The second death was the exact same thing, suicide. Now this third death was just due to frustrating this. I was trying to circle around the edge and I fell off. Ouch. And now this next death, I was doing pretty well, and I hit a wall and it bounces me into a bottomless abyss of doom. Now this next death, I was also doing really well. I was in second place. I was going, bump, ow! And I died. Frustrating, isn't it? But now this take is when I don't die, so you don't have to worry about that. Anyways, on your mark, get set, go. I normally don't have that much trouble with this boss, but during this recording, it was pretty frustrating. Anyways, unlike the other bosses, this one is not about defeating an enemy, it is a race. You're in these bumper cars, or as Europeans like to call them, dodgems, and you have to go across this racetrack and beat these clowns. Why you're doing this, I don't know, the game never explains, but hey, it's Pac-Man world, it doesn't need an explanation. It's fun and that's all that matters. Anyways, you know, dodgems, why do Europeans call them dodgems? Because I thought the point of bumper cars was you want to bump into other people as much as possible. I mean, sorry, but what kind of person goes to bumper cars and just avoids everyone? I mean, maybe I'm missing something, but that's an odd name. That clown's dead. You know, I wouldn't have minded if, you know, the first part of the boss was a race. But having the entire boss be a race is a little bit of a disappointment, and it's part of the reason why I prefer the space levels overall to the funhouse levels. That and the music, but the funhouse levels are still close. But if I was making this game, I would have had it where the first part of the boss is a race like this, then the second part would be, you're still in a bumper car, but you'd be having to, you know, you'd be fighting like a giant clown in a giant bumper car. That would have been awesome, but I wasn't in charge of making this game, so I shouldn't go in depth on how I would have designed it. And Pac-Man wins. Normally this boss, like I said, I don't die that much, but I didn't have one of my better runs on it, so you got to witness some of my frustrating deaths. Alright, Galaxian. Let's get 3 Galaxians. Galaxian. Alright, one more. I'm gonna get this. I can feel it, I can feel it, I can feel it, and yes! That is some extra lives for me. 3 Galaxians. I told you I'm capable of getting them. I just didn't do the best job with it in the first few parts. For whatever reason. It's probably because I hadn't played this game in a while. What's the lesson I learned? Always do a practice run of a game for a Let's Play before I actually Let's Play it, because I made some pretty stupid mistakes that I normally wouldn't make due to not remembering stuff. Daddy, go play, find more friends. Well, don't worry, baby Pac-Man, we will do that in the next part. Bye.